Computer. Okay, so most of the people on the screen I know, but there might be a few that don't know me. So I'll just quickly introduce myself. And my name is Rick Schafferman, and I'm the founder and acting rabbi of Congregation Beth Chavarim. We are a small synagogue, and we practice in the Reformed tradition, based here in Santa Clarita, California, which is a suburb just north of Los Angeles. And it's such a thrill for me to have the opportunity to present Jill Kaplan, our scholar in residence.
Yeah, I got a bump up in my name.
She loved the new title. Jill has devoted over 35 years to Jewish education in Long Island, at various times serving as a classroom teacher, a religious school principal, a family ed director. She spent the last 6 years focusing on presenting adult education classes for Malloy University's lifelong learning, as well as for various local sisterhoods and libraries. She's also a sopheret. In 2012, Jill began studying with renowned sofer Neil Yerman, learning the scribal arts and the process of restoring Torah scrolls. She's currently scribe in residence at Temple Or Elohim, a community reform congregation in Jericho, Long Island, restoring 4 of their Torahs. And she loves spending Shabbat afternoons and holidays with the residents of Atria Tanglewood, which is an assisted living center facility where they live. She and her husband, Paul, and you can see Paul on the screen, Paul and I go back about 50 years, back to Rider College in New Jersey. And she and Paul have lived in Freeport, Long Island since 1983. They have 2 children, Emily and Ross. And here is the most exciting thing in their lives. They are thrilled to be Oma and Grandpa to their 3-year-old granddaughter, Maisie. I just want to let you know, again, it's being recorded, but also if you have any questions, you can either call them out. Jill's fine with that. If you prefer, you can raise that little yellow hand and it'll come up on my screen and I'll be sure to call on you. So with that, Jill, it's all yours.
Okay, well, thank you for that fabulous introduction, Rick. And thank you for welcoming me back into the Beth Chavarim community. I like this. This is nice. Thank you. So tonight, we're going to be talking about Marc Chagall and specifically about the stained glass windows that are in Israel, that are in the Abel Synagogue, which is in Hadassah Hospital in Ein Kerem in Israel. We're getting a little bit of background about Chagall himself, the various types of art that he did, but as I said, I'm not going to kind of go broad strokes, as it were, on his other art and his earlier life so that we can get to the windows themselves. As you can see, I have a lovely visual here, and we're going to get to these guys in a little bit, but possibly growing up, we had like grandma's needlepoint of one of these or a couple of these. And so we're going to talk about the windows, what they represent, symbolically, literally, the various use of color. But we're going to begin. So I'm going to be screen sharing. When I'm screen sharing, I can't really see you guys. So as Rick said, if you have a question or a comment or something, you can either call it out or raise your hand, and then Rick will let me know and I'll stop. And then a couple of times during the presentation, I'm going to stop anyway, just so that we can kind of regroup and then move forward. So before I start, does anybody have anything they want to ask or say or anything like that? No? All right, then I guess it's still my turn. Okay. So with that, I am going to attempt to screen share. Okay. Hopefully we can all see the picture of Marc Chagall, yes?
Yes.
Good, okay. So Marc Chagall was actually born Moshe Chagall, SH, not CH. He was born in, as we see, Vitebsk, Belarusia at the time, Belarus today. He was the eldest of nine children, and he was born into a very poor family, a very working class. It was a tiny little village, a little shtetl on the far side of the Pale of Settlement. Life was very difficult. Winters were very cold. There was not a lot of food because you had, again, he was one of nine children, but there was a tremendous amount of love. There was a tremendous amount of Judaism and the values. There was an observant family, and so they lit Shabbat candles, and there was reading of the Bible, the Torah all the time, and prayer, and all of these that were part of his foundation, we're going to see, even though ultimately, as he grew up, he became a very secular Jew. He was not as observant in his from really his early adulthood on. However, the
Oh,
values were a significant part of him. His Judaism itself, you will see the symbols and the color, the use of color, all of this plays into his art, but the foundation was still there. I do want to share with you. So, this is a family portrait. And this is, there are eight of the nine children are present. Now, don't let the fabulous fashions fool you. You know, mom is there with that great hat and the feathers and this beautiful gown. Most likely, these, when a photography studio, when you would go there, they had like a trunk full of costumes that you would put on. This is not what they were wearing day to day. This is not the Gilded Age. This is nothing close to that. This is, his father was a herring merchant. He would get up very early in the morning, early enough that before he would have to meet at the docks at the to take care of, he was pickling herring. Um, but before he would go to work in the morning, he got up early enough that he would go to shul, he would pray, and then at the end of the day, in the evening, he was praying. So again, it was a very traditional family that a life that the father was leading, and that was how the parents raised their children. And so in 1915, oh, and just in case you're wondering, that's Marc Chagall there. Okay. And so in 1915, he met Bella. He met Bella Rosenfeld. She was also from Vitebsk. And together they had one child. This is their child, Ida. And Bella was his muse. She was just the love of his life. And we're going to see that as he started to paint, as he started to draw, he at a very early age he started sketching. Otherwise, he probably would have been a herring merchant like his father. And but once he started uh, doing art, creating art, he ended up getting a scholarship, and so that's where his life took a very different turn. And so as he starts to paint, he's very influenced by surrealism, Picasso, Fauvism, these bright colors and broad strokes and shapes. And so, as we see in some of his art, in some of his paintings, there's just this wonderful sense of lyrical and of just, you know, the people are floating. And so that's these are two portraits of him with Bella. And so their wedding picture, where again, it looks like they're floating under the sea. You know, you've got all of this blue, and yet there are these sunflowers, and it's just these colors and the whimsy. You know, here he's reaching over, he's floating, but he's reaching over so he can kiss her. She's floating. It's just, despite a very poor lifestyle and what could have been interpreted as bleak and cold and black and white and dark, this was what he was feeling. And so this is how he's expressing his life and his love. And here, this in the bottom, this is one of his, probably his most famous paintings. It's called I and the Village. Not I like this, but I like me. But again, you know, the people are upside down. There's a cow inside of a cow, and up top, the animals are floating. There he is. There's Bella and Marc over there embracing. But at the bottom, you got this, is it a chicken? Is it a person? It's got two heads. It's like, what is going on here? But again, it's just this whimsy, it's this surrealism and this extension of his imagination and his creativity that he's able to get onto the canvas. And so, as he gets a little bit older, the two of them, they're married. So now in the 1920s and the 1930s, now he's in Paris, he's in Berlin, and he is surrounded by all of these creative people and these progressive artists and intellectuals. And he's talking and he's creating and writing. All of this is going on, and it's just an amazing creative time. It's just an amazing time to be there. The only problem is, it's the 1930s and it's Berlin and it's Paris. So what is happening?
Yeah, the Holocaust.
Exactly. This is the rise of the Nazis, and people like him, A, he's a Jew, and B, he is creating what is called unsafe art, unacceptable art. And he's hanging out with all of these other unacceptable people, these dangerous minds that we have to silence. And so, eventually what happens in the early 40s, in 1940, 1941, he is now in France. And excuse me, France, Germany invades. And so France is divided into two. It's divided into the northern part, which is occupied, and the southern part, which is called Vichy France, uh, which means basically the Nazis say, we're not totally taking over, but we can come in anytime and do whatever we want,
Which they did.
which they did, of course, yes. And so ultimately, he is rescued and he is given safe passage, which is a whole other presentation that I can do, Rick. I'll talk to you about
Okay.
it afterwards. And he and Bella get safely to America. And so um, in the mid 40s, they get early 40s, excuse me. And unfortunately, what is happening at the same time, as I am struggling to speak here, unrelated, Bella, it's 1944, and Bella develops a sore throat. She basically, it's like strep. And she can't go to CVS and just get a Z-Pack. There's no, penicillin is not that popular at that time. And sadly, she passes away from this throat infection, which at any time now would just be like a couple of days stay home. And it's tragic, and he is brokenhearted. And so, what's going to happen is ultimately he's going to move to Paris, and he is going to, eventually, fortunately for him, he does meet someone and he falls in love again. And so he meets Valentina Brodsky. They call her Vava, which I love. And not only is it wonderful that he's able to find love again, but she becomes a huge influence in a whole new direction that his artwork is going to take and his creativity. And she is the one who convinces him to start focusing on stained glass, on the art of stained glass. And he learns about it. Oh, thank you. I do have, but now I have, thank you. I had this, now I have this. Thank you. And so she's the one who gets him into the art of stained glass. And as he starts working with it, he actually starts developing new techniques that we're going to actually see some footage of, where in addition to using pieces of colored glass, he's actually painting on the glass itself to deepen the colors and to deepen the whole perspective of what these pictures are in the stained glass. And so that's in 1952. They get married. It's 8 years after Bella passed away. And they remained married for 33 years until 1985, until his death in 1985. And so now what I want to do is I want to pause for a moment because I want to first, does anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts before I move into what these stained glass windows are before we dig in
How
deep?
old was his daughter when the mother passed, when his wife passed?
Let's see. They were married in, hold on, that's on this page. Uh, they were married in 1915. I think she was born like 2 years later or 3 years later, and she died in 44. So somebody do the math. Let's say it's 1917 to 1944.
About
Oh,
37 years.
thank you. Okay. Math, never my strong suit. Don't ever ask me math. Yeah, so but very sad and tragic, but he was able to fortunately find love again.
What happened to the child?
I'm sorry, say this?
What happened to his child?
Oh,
I
we're
mean,
going to find out. We're going to hear about her because we're going to actually see his granddaughter, who is the child of that child, later on in a video. Um, she became, not only did she become a curator of his artwork, but she actually helped rescue some of the pieces that were still held after the Nazis had taken a lot of his artwork, and she was able to get some of his artwork out. So she became a champion of his, and it's family legacy, it's history. So yeah. Any other questions, thoughts, anything on what we've learned so far? Yes,
It
Gail.
surprised
Hey.
me that I kept thinking that his stained glass was more from the early century
Yeah.
because of the Louis Comfort Tiffany stained glass.
Hmm.
And there's a terrific museum in Winter Park, Florida, of called the Morse Museum, which is the largest collection of Tiffany stained glass.
Mhm.
And, that went out, earlier in the century. So I was thinking,
Development philosopher and all. Okay.
yeah, so it was,
Yeah, we're not going to get to the stained glass windows of Chagall until 1960,
right, almost,
50, yeah, in the late 50s.
almost a
So,
revival of art, glass art.
and we're going to see also that he was given a choice of, forgive the pun, he had a blank canvas. He could have done anything,
Yeah.
and he chose to do stained glass. And I'm sorry, say this.
Somebody's chatting in the background. I'm not sure who it is. If you could.
Oh, serious, I mean, like seriously, like
So somebody is identified as iPad. Can you just turn your camera on so we can see you for a moment, please?
I had a woman flirt with me at Dad's gym. No.
Okay, if you don't want to turn your camera on, that's fine, but thank you. I was going to ask you to just
You're
mute.
muted.
We're hearing your conversation. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, so let's get to these windows. Okay, so again, I'm going to show this. So everybody has to count in case you don't know to see how many windows we have. And even this math I can do. How many windows do we have? Somebody unmute.
12 windows.
12 windows. Okay.
12.
The 12 windows.
There are indeed 12 windows. So why are there 12 windows and what do they represent?
The 12 tribes.
12 tribes.
Tribes.
tribes?
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything that they might want to venture a guess?
Well, it could have been 12 months, but then they'd have to have a 13th window for Adar too. So.
For a dar too, yes. That's the little extra window in the
Yes,
back.
it's just to add on to the back or something.
Yes. Anybody have any other thoughts? I always like to open it up and make sure everybody has a chance to speak. Okay, so in Hadassah Hospital, and I will tell you one of my first visits to Israel to see I actually got this little souvenir packet that is a card of each of the windows. Ooh. And it is absolutely referred to as, well, you're not going to see it. It's teeny tiny print, but it does say that the tribes, but that's actually not correct. Go new. He'll have to do them again. No, it isn't because of that. So the 12, there are, okay. How many sons did Jacob have, by the way? I'll give you a hint.
12 sons.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, he had 12 sons. Plus,
A daughter.
thank you,
Dina.
Dina. We'll get to her as well.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Okay.
These stained glass windows actually are representative of the blessing that Jacob gave each of his 12 sons as he was dying.
Oh,
There are some sons who are not tribes, and there are some tribes who are not sons.
yes.
Okay?
Hmm.
I know.
Yeah, right?
So we're going to see that why some sons did not become tribes, as it were, and who does get to be a who gets to be a tribe even though they're not in the stained glass. Who are they that who are not sons? So with that in mind, let me just get these guys over here. So the windows themselves, let me just give you a quick background. Hadassah Hospital. So it's 1948, Israel has declared a state independence. And in those next 10 years, obviously a tremendous amount of uh, building is going on, just making Israel a state, making Israel a vibrant place. We've got water irrigation, we've got capitalism. We got all this stuff going on. And amidst this, Hadassah, which was actually founded in 1912, but in the Hadassah Hospital, at the time, let me get her name, Miriam Freund. Miriam Freund is the president of Hadassah at the time. And it's in the early to mid 1950s. And she's trying to think, so as Hadassah Hospital itself is being built, she is thinking we need some kind of beautiful art that will be in this, that will be a presence in this hospital. That a hospital is more than just a place for people to go for healing, but that there's healing of the mind and spirit and all of that. And so she and some other high ups in Hadassah decide they're going to approach Marc Chagall and they're going to say to him, and she's got this whole presentation made. So they go to France and they are ready with this whole big speech on, this is who we are and this is what Hadassah is and this is why we want you to please make some kind of art that will be a symbol of Judaism and a symbol of who you are and what Hadassah is. And they get like two sentences into the presentation and he says, "What took you so long?" He says, "I
Oh,
have been waiting my whole life to be asked to do something significant for the Jewish people."
Oh, that's great.
And she's like, "Can I read my speech anyway?" No. And so his quote, so the hospital is dedicated, and the stained glass windows are dedicated in February of 1962. So it takes him like 4 years, 5 years for him to be able to create these. And again, she gives him free reign. Whatever you want to create, just make some kind of art for us to have in Hadassah Hospital. So he worked on it with some of his artistic assistants. And again, he created this new technique that was going to make it even more vibrant. So in addition to using colored glass, he is painting on the glass itself. And so he sketches everything out, and we're going to see in depth what the meaning is behind the colors, the shapes, the placement of where things are. Everything is there. Nothing is just coincidental or, oh, I felt like painting blue, so I think I'll make it blue. They are huge. They are 8 feet wide and 11 feet high. So now that since I'm not screen sharing, who has seen or been in the presence of these stained glass windows in Israel? Yeah. So do you want to share what it felt like to be there and see them? Fern, you and I were speaking, so you get to go first and tell your little story while you're at it. Yeah, you got to unmute.
There we go. 1971, I went to live on Kibbutz Or Haner, and I took some time to travel. And I really don't remember seeing, I know I was there and I saw them, but I don't remember the whole experience, just that someone had said to me, you're in Israel if it's done by Marc Chagall or surrounded in barbed wire. I'm like, there you go. And that was the time. It was, we went and looked at tanks on the Golan, Arab tanks that were on the Golan. And even on my kibbutz, being so near Gaza, we used to go to Gaza on Shabbat. But there were a lot of, it was a different, I would say it was a different time, but I guess not so much.
It's always a different time.
Yeah.
And yet it's always the same.
It's always the same.
Yeah. We went back, I hadn't been for almost 50 years. And Greg and I went back to hike the national parks in 2019.
Beautiful.
It
Good
was
timing on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so other people
sharing that. Anybody else want to mention anything about being there and seeing the windows?
Well, I've been to Israel a lot of times and I've seen it probably almost each time I've gone, and I really liked it. I love Marc Chagall. And so it's very, very impressive. They are. You have to see them in person.
Yes.
It was really great. I really want to go back to Israel. One of these days I'll get there. Well, when they're not fighting, but
yeah. Anybody else? Yes, Mitch and Meredith. Hello, guys.
Hi. What I remember is you mentioned the size. That's what I remember. I didn't expect them to be so big.
Magnificent.
Yeah, they were just, breathtaking. So, Yep, beautiful.
Anybody else have anything they want to share? I know there's like a second screen, Mitch, Rick. So if anybody on the second page has a hand up or anything.
I think there's only one right now.
Oh, okay.
Dave.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So if it's 11 feet high, where is it in the building? I mean,
we are gonna see exactly what it looks like when we're outside, and then we're gonna see exactly what it looks like when we're inside. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I will call on you in about 5 minutes. I do just want to mention, so they were dedicated in 1962, and they were commissioned by Sir Henry and Lady Diagdevor Goldschmidt. They got a big business card. And it was actually to honor their daughter, Sarah, who tragically died at age 21 in a boating accident. And they wanted to commemorate, they wanted to memorialize her, but they also wanted to honor her and be part of Chagall being able to be there. So they are located inside one of the synagogues that is in Hadassah Hospital. And for those who have been there, and again, we're going to see the pictures. So, and actually, I guess I could screen share this while I'm talking, hopefully. Okay. So here we are back. So there's Vava. Okay. Oh, you know what? All right, before we do this, so here's the map. So here we go with the sons and the tribes and who's who. All right. So this is the way, biblically, this is the way the territory, when the Israelites are still wandering around, it is all mapped out who's going to be where and what the borders are, north, south, east, west. And so as they come into Israel, this is where they settle. So what's the deal with tribes who are not sons? Let's start with them. This area, this whole peachy colored area, I know it looks like it's divided. That's a little river, but it's all the tribe of Manasseh. And this underneath this beige is the tribe of Ephraim. So anybody know who was or who were Ephraim and Manasseh?
Yeah, they were not sons of Jacob.
They were not sons, they were grandsons.
Right.
These are the sons of Joseph.
They're the
Joseph,
ones when we bless children on Shabbat, those are the,
exactly. So I'm going to get to that. Oh, very good. So these are the sons of Joseph. Joseph, remember, he's sold into slavery. He gets to be a big leader in Egypt and all of this. And he is the second highest in command. He marries a non-Jew. He marries an Egyptian. But when he has children, when he has these two sons, there's a bris, they are circumcised, and they are raised knowing who they are, that they are of the tribe, they are Israelites, and they are of his descent. When on Shabbat, when we bless our children, some people whether it's traditional home or not, but sometimes on Shabbat, the mothers will lay their hands on their daughters and they say, may you be like Rachel, may you be like Sarah, Rebecca, Rivka, Rachel and Leah. May you be like our matriarchs, right? But when the sons are blessed, they don't say, the father does not say, may you be like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They say, may you be like Ki Ephraim Umenashe. May you be like Ephraim and Manasseh. No matter where you are, no matter where you live, no matter what happens, you know that you are a Jew. Never forget your heritage. And so these two grandsons are now given, they are deeded territory in the land. They are deeded tribes and tribal territory, which is awesome. But it also means that somebody's not getting,
Right.
because there are 12 tribes, right? And so if there are 12 sons and two of these territories are not sons, that means somebody's not getting it.
Yeah.
So one of them, I want you to remember this graphic over here. I hope you can see the mouse circling down in the lower left. We've got the tribe of Judah, and inside the tribe of Judah, we have Simeon, we have Shimon. We're going to get to why in a little bit, but just remember that. If we had a lot of time and I gave you like a little scavenger hunt, you would come to find that there is no tribe here of Levi, no Levi, and there is no Joseph. Two sons, no territory, no tribe.
Okay.
Simeon, tribe, but tribe within a tribe. So that's how everything happens. Those are sons who are not tribes and tribes who are not sons.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Now we are at the windows. This is what it looks like. I think it was Dave. Were you the one who said, what does it look like?
Yeah, right.
Okay, the check is in the mail. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
So this is what it looks like when you're walking outside.
Oh,
It kind of looks like a spider web. It looks, right? You would never know that this is what it is. But keep in mind, each of these panels is 11 feet high and 8 feet wide. So if you're walking, you're coming up to like maybe around half, not even halfway up to the grandeur of this. And it's not even, later on, I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's lit from within. This is not lit. When you go inside, however, hold on to your hats. This is what it looks like inside. So this is how they can be so magnificent and high, and still you can take it all in. When you walk in, you're actually on the lower level.
down.
The bima, because we're in Israel, the bima is actually in the center of this is a functioning sanctuary. If you know someone who knows someone, you could have your kid or your grandkid have their bar mitzvah here. But the tour groups come in here. This is open 23/6 for the public. On Shabbat, it is a functioning synagogue. There's a service that's going on, a Shabbat service. And when I say 23, from from I think it's 1 to 2 o'clock, tour groups are not allowed in here. It is closed to the public so that patients can come, doctors, staff members can come. It doesn't matter what your religion is, but for 1 hour, It is private, it is closed to the public so that people can come and pray or just sit. You don't have to, again, it could be a secular experience. You could just want to come and just kind of think about whoever is in the hospital or whatever your situation is. But other than that, there are tour groups that come in. And what's cool is, so you can see there's 3 windows on each side, 4 sides. And so what happens is when you come in, and this is, you're going to be sitting in these chairs, and you sit down, and then the audio comes on, and it tells you there's a narration, and it comes over the loudspeaker, and it tells you you're looking at start with the window all the way on the left, and this is what's going on in this one, and this one, and this one, and then a little musical interlude. It's from the Four Seasons. Da, 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 da. And so that starts to play, and that's your musical cue to get up, move to the right. Everybody comes over. It gives you like 30 seconds. Everybody moves over. You sit down, and now you're looking at the next 3, and you hear about those. And then the music comes on, and everybody shifts over. You're looking at those. And so it takes like 15 minutes, and you get to keep shifting around so that you really get to take it all in and you get to hear about what is happening in each of these windows. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. Hadassah, what can I say? And so that is everything. Except I just want to read my a little quote here. So this is what Chagall said about the experience of being asked to create some kind of art and what he views for these windows. This is my modest gift to the Jewish people who have always dreamt of biblical love, friendship, peace among all peoples. This is my gift to that people which lived here thousands of years ago among Semitic people. All the time I was working, I felt my mother and my father looking over my shoulder, and behind them were Jews, millions of other Jews, vanished Jews of yesterday and of 1,000 years ago.
Wow, that is really powerful.
I need a moment.
That is really powerful. Thank you.
So with that, I have to stop screen sharing because on this computer, come on, it can only take so much. So I had to divide the program into 2 sets of slides. So give me a moment. Talk amongst yourselves. Tell me something else while I'm looking for this.
That is quite moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love hearing why, you say the blessings over your son about Manasseh and Ephraim. I never knew that. And Rick married my son and daughter-in-law. Both of them they each have strong Jewish mothers and fathers who are not Jewish, but raise their children as Jews. They have a son now, and they do Shabbat every Friday, and they say that. And I'm so excited to tell my son, because I'm sure he doesn't know why those are why you should be like Manasseh and Ephraim. And I'm just so excited to tell that to him. Thank you.
Great. Okay.
They are such a great couple. It was such a thrill to be involved in their wedding. Man, great.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Otherwise, we're going to dig deep into the windows and why they look the way they do. Okay. I hope. Okay. So loading. There we are. Okay. So these are the sons. These are in birth order. Okay. And they are laid out in, if you start with this one, they will go in the same order, 3, 3, 3, 3. This is how they are laid out. These are, again, and when I say the blessing that Jacob gave them, it isn't so much you'll be prosperous, you'll have many children, all of that. It really is more like an assessment. Again, this is at the end of his life. He has seen them from childhood, grow up, and who they became and how they behaved and what they did and what they didn't do in their lives. And as he is dying, he is very candid. He is not holding anything back.
He
And
also he was acutely aware of the fact that they took his favorite son and removed him,
well, we're going to
lied
get
about the whole thing.
absolutely. And other really bad behavior.
Yes,
No spoiler alerts, Rick.
they were not good. Okay, sorry, they were not good guys,
Um,
many of them.
but he's going to be very candid. And so, and the other thing I just want to mention before we get, so back in biblical times, and I guess perhaps today, typically, who gets all the good stuff in the family
The
as
eldest son.
children are being born? The eldest and the firstborn and the son. So
Yes.
the eldest son is getting everything, and eventually other stuff trickles down. Not so much in Jacob's family. Let's see how long it takes for the good stuff to show up. So this is our first son. This is Reuven. And at the top here, excuse me, at the top, this is where the beginning part of his blessing is. And it says, Reuven Bechori ata kochi. Reuben, you are my firstborn. You are my might, the first fruits of my strength. Kochi, my strength. Aval, as my friend Yardena says, but you are as unstable as the waters, and you shall not excel.
Ooh.
How's that? Okay. So
Bold.
we have here, biblically, we have the story of creation that is going to mirror the story of the creation of Jacob's family. So here we have the separation of the waters. So we start with the light. At first there was darkness, and then there was light. So we have the light up here. We have the fish swimming in the sea. We have the separation of the waters down here. We have the birds flying. We have the heavens, the waters of the heavens up above. The birds are flying. Excuse me. And all of this is about the promise, just as creation is about the promise of everything to come. This is about the promise of all of the line of Jacob and all of the sons, parenthetically, and the daughter Dinah. But as I said, but you are as unstable as the waters, you shall not excel. And within the blessing, and I've got the Hebrew here on my little handy dandy cards, where it says, it was unstable as the waters, but no kings will come from your line. It's like they will be farmers. Here we have, if you look closely, this is a patch of green meadow, and there are little sheep that are grazing in. So he's no slouch. He's going to be shepherds and farmers, but no kings are coming from here. There are no crowns in any of here. There's no royalty in any of the images here. But they will be farmers. But down here, this is really interesting. So these are the mandrakes that he would bring his mother. So again, very quickly, we've got Jacob, who falls in love with Rachel. She's the younger sister. Leah is the older one. He goes to the father and says, "Can I marry your daughter?" "Yeah, no problem. Just work for me for 7 years and then you can marry her." Okay, 7 years go by, and then he's deceived in some way, and he ends up marrying Leah instead of Rachel. "Hey, what's the deal?" "No problem. Work for me for another 7 years, and then you can have Rachel." Okay, he works again. And so there's this rivalry between Rachel and Leah, and we are going to see as these children are being born, it takes Rachel a long time before she is able to finally conceive. And so the mandrakes were a fertility, a sign, not just a sign of fertility, but supposedly aided in fertility. It's like a water, it's a flower, a root flower that grows in the water, in the shallow waters. And so it was said that Reuben used to pick these mandrakes and give them to his mother so that she would be more fertile and she would have more children, because poor Leah was not the beloved of, and it was no secret, but she was not the most beloved of Jacob. So that's everything that's happening here in our stained glass. beautiful, serene blue, the waters, the heavens, the sky, everything is just very peaceful here. This is Simeon. And again, I will just so take in the blackness in this blue. The shards, the shapes are very angular and jagged. Again, going back, look at how curvy and smooth and serene everything is in this beautiful blue. Oh, Barry, you have your hand up, yes?
In this window, are the sheep an example of when he is painting instead of using forms of glass on that? That
Oh,
looks
are
like
they
it's
painted
just not.
on? You know, I will be very honest, I am not sure, but it does look like it. That I'm gonna write that question down. Thank you. I will get back to Rick and he will find out. Or I will find out and he will let you know. Um, no one has ever asked that before. What a great question. And I didn't even think of it either. Okay.
Barry is a Renaissance man.
Oh, okay. And a Renaissance painter.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will find out. But it's certainly possible, although, yeah, I don't see how he could have embedded the little black. If anything, it might be the absence of color, that like that, those lighter colors, that white that's there and that yellow, that might actually be where he may have scraped off some of the color of from the glass and painted the rest of it a darker green. It might be the absence of color, but I will find out. Okay, so now what is going on here that is making everything so tense and dark and jagged and just terrifying? So this is Shimon. This is Simeon. So Simeon and his brother Levi, they are the second and third of the children. Dinah, now Dinah comes into play. So at one point, Dinah is, again, they are transient people and they go into this town. They're in Shechem and she kind of wanders off just to sort of see what's going on. And the prince of the city, the son of the king of Shechem, uh, sees her. Depending on the translation that you read, it's always the same Hebrew word, but translation and interpretation is different. He rapes her, he attacks her, he violates her, he humbles her. All of these different words are used in translation, but there is clearly a violent attack against her in a sexual way. And when she comes back into the, to where the family is, and she shares what happens to her, the brothers are furious. Meanwhile, the father has gone to Jacob to say, my son is in love with your daughter. He wants to marry her. Come live with us. Come dwell with us. We will be one big family. Your family and our family, we will all dwell together here as one big family in Shechem, happily ever after. And Jacob is like, not a bad idea, but if you're going to be like us and we're going to be like you need to be like us. You need to follow our code, which is Brit. That's our Brit. Our covenant is circumcision. So, regardless of how old everybody is, every male must be circumcised. And that, by the way, not only goes for the townspeople of Shechem, it goes for their male servants. Everyone in Shechem must be circumcised unless they are less than 8 days old. And then when they get to be 8 days old, they will be. At this point, when clearly they are completely defenseless, they are completely in pain, I would imagine. They are just, trying to rest comfortably after everyone has been circumcised. It is then that Simeon and Levi go in there to seek revenge. And there is a slaughter. They murder everyone. They murder all of the males. They steal, they take all of anything that they think is of value, any possessions. It is just a bloodbath. It is horrible, 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 like nothing in any movie you have ever seen. just slaughter, murder, outright carnage. And then they come back and they go, good news, Dad. We avenged Dinah's rape. Everything's okay now. And Jacob is furious. He's like, this is not what justice looks like. This is not who we are as a people. We have codes. We have laws for criminals. This is not what justice looks like. And he basically disowns them at that point. He is like, you are not my sons. My sons do not do this. And so now in this window, we see the division. This is another story of creation. Here, inside this sphere at the bottom, this is the division. This is the creation of light and the division of the two waters. And here, outside, as they say, outside the circle of trust, way outside in his own bloody sphere, this is where Shimon's name is. And you can see all of the discord that is going on. Again, the shapes of the shards of glass. The animals are not looking at each other. They're going in different directions. You've got a very dark blue. This is not that beautiful, harmonious, quiet blue. This is a very fearful blue. Down at the bottom here, we have all of these, it looks like all of these buildings. These are the 17 cities that ultimately that the descendants of Shimon, the descendants of Simeon, they will disperse throughout 17 cities. If you remember on that map, in that big tribe of Reuben was that little green circle of Simeon. They are going to be absorbed within 17 cities. The tribe of Shimon will ultimately be absorbed by the tribe of Reuben within the 17 cities. But this massacre, this bloodbath that takes place, he never forgets and he never forgives them. It was just this horrible thing. And it is reflected here in his blessing. Now, this is the other brother that participated in this massacre. What's the deal here? Levi is one of the two golden windows. There are only two. They are the most high. They are the most sacred. So how is it possible that if this is what one brother gets, this is what the other gets? And it has to do with, I struggled with this once I kind of learned all of what was going on with the background and the history of all of these windows. And again, Chagall didn't have the internet like I did to research this. Chagall was a scholar. Chagall knew, he was reading Torah and reading these Bible stories all through his childhood, all through his earlier life, his deep connection, and he was referencing the Chumash, the hard-bound copy of the Torah, as he was researching what these blessings were and who these children really were and what the meaning, the significance of these blessings were in order to be able to create these windows. And so because here you have all of the symbols or many symbols of Judaism. You've got the Star of David up here. You have the 10 Commandments. You've got the tablets with the 10 Commandments. You have Shabbat candles over here. Here's one over here and one over here. A Kiddush cup. You have Jerusalem, Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, right in the middle, Jerusalem of gold. It is all there. And so I asked my rabbi, I was like, what's the deal here? And he said, this is all about redemption. That yes, Reuben and Levi both participated in this. But for example, a generation later, when it came to the golden calf, now we're wandering through the desert, the tribe of Levi, they were the only ones who did not participate in the rituals and in building and creating the golden calf and sacrificing to it and cavorting around it and all that. They did not participate in that. The descendants of the tribe of Levi, Moses and Aaron and Miriam are descended from the tribe of Levi. And ultimately, we know that Aaron and his sons will ultimately become the Kohanim. They will become the high priests and all of their generation. And so the Levites become kind of like the intermediaries between the Kohanim. They're going to serve the Kohanim. They're serving the priests, literally sometimes serving them food, but they are in service to them. And they are also the intermediaries between these high priests and the Israelites and everybody else, where we kind of have these three different kinds of divisions. You either are a Kohen or a Levi or Yisrael. And so when the Israelites and the lay people and the masses, they don't have the facility to pray, they would go and watch the Kohens slaughter a cow or a calf or a kid or whatever it was, and that was prayer. And then everybody would say amen because nobody else knew how to pray like that. And so these Levites are kind of traveling around. Remember we saw, they don't have a tribe at all. They don't have territory at all. Their duty is to wander around amidst all of these tribes in service of the Kohanim and in service of the Israelites themselves. And so they are kind of just always wandering around, being there to help and aid in the masses. And so I think that's everybody on here. Okay. Questions before we move on? Okay. You can always pop in anyway. All right. If we're keeping count, what child is this? There we go. We're on the fourth child. Now we get to the birthright. By the way, all of these children so far from Leah. Leah. Okay. And Leah. So this is Yehudah. This is Judah. Up here at the very top, his name is in the crown, in the tribes, the line of kings comes from the tribe of Judah. We are Yehudim. We are Jews. Yehudah, Jew. We come from this line, all of us collectively, because he was the first good son. He was the one who was worthy of this very high honor. And so some of the things, so you can see the priestly blessing. Rick, you were mentioning the blessing of our children. So all of our Star Trekky friends, okay. But you will also notice if you count the fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Another thing that Chagall was very mindful of was the commandment that says you shall have no graven images. And yes, you shall have no graven images of God, but we are all created in the image of God, and therefore there cannot be a literal interpretation, a literal representation in art. And so it's referential, but it is not literal. And so you'll see in many of in the animals and in the hands and the bodies of humans as we go along, and if I went back, you'd notice it as well, that it's symbolic. So we also have, and again, this red, this is not blood red, this is royal red. This is one of the colors of royalty, this deep red. This is like a wine red. And in fact, part of his blessing is that Judah, let me get this, because I think it's in here. Oops, that's Benjamin. I'm going the wrong way. Levi. Nope. So this is the lion here. Again, it looks more like a sheep, but this is actually the Lion of Judah, which is another one of the symbols of Israel, and as one of the symbols that is attached to Judah as well. And it is said that he will be so wealthy that he used to wash his clothes in wine. To me, only if you want red clothes.
I'm usually washing wine out of my clothes.
There you go. Yes. But He washed his clothes in wine, and so that's another reason why we have this red. And again, you have Jerusalem here in the middle. Even though it's blue, it's Jerusalem. Okay, so moving along, now we have Zebulon, a different shade of red, a little bit lighter. Zebulon right here, again from Leah. And we can see, even though it is not blue, like a literal blue for the ocean, this is clearly a nautical theme. We've got fish, we've got a boat here, and all of this has to do with the fact that the tribe of Zebulon would settle in the northern part in Galilee, in Tivaria, the Kinneret. It's known as the Kinneret as well as the Sea of Galilee. And so this is where his people settled. And this over here, this yellow, this is reflective, so to speak, of the blessing. Because when it is said that when Jacob gave his blessing, the sun was setting. It was the end of the day and the sun was setting. And this is kind of like the sun coming down low on the horizon and just glowing right there to give on the water and to give this reference to the time of day that this blessing was given to him. And so that's Zebulon. And so they were very proficient fishermen. They were tradesmen trading on the ocean, and that's them. So now we come to Issachar. And again, here at the top of his tent, of one of his tents, this is his name, and his blessing is up here. And you can just see this beautiful verdant green, this yellow green. It's just everything is just referential to agriculture and meadows and just, just beautiful greenery and life. And so, indeed, they were agricultural people. They were farmers. You can see there are animals in here. Up here at the top, these oranges or these pieces of fruit, but inside there are these little stars. And that's to reference that as an agricultural people, they were also sort of early astronomers, and they were using the moon and the stars to guide them as to when they would travel and when they would plant and harvest. It's the full moon, and that's when we're going to harvest. And so all of that they were kind of early taking use of the sky and the tools that were available to them through that. We also have some snakes here. We've got some grapes. We've got all this different produce, if you will. His blessing, however, now this is going to sound like a backhanded compliment, but it really is a compliment. His blessing was, Jacob, you are like the large-boned ass. But in that sense, and here's the large-boned ass as we speak, because that's a farming animal, right? That's going to help you to plow your fields, and he's going to be strong and dependable, especially if he's large-boned. Please don't call me a large-boned ass, not unless you really have to. Something very interesting in here. So down here in this piece of blue, which is part of the donkey, is you'll see this tiny little white circle. Okay. This is from the 1967, from the Six-Day War. And several of the panels were destroyed during the Six-Day War. And so now Hadassah has to go back to him and say, we feel horrible. We tried to take care of this beautiful art that you made for us. Unfortunately, during the war, some of the panels were destroyed. We'll pay you whatever it takes, but could you please, please make them again? And now he's getting on in age. It's 1967 already. And his response was, and again, get your tissues out. His response was, you take care of Israel, I will take care of the windows. And so at no cost to Hadassah, at no cost to Israel, he and his workers came and restored the broken windows. But he left this one piece. So this this piece, you can see the shape of it. It's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, it's a pentagon. but it's this one blue piece right here. That is the original piece, and that's the hole. That's a bullet hole that did not shatter it completely. And he left it for two reasons. And he embedded that into the new window that he created that was an exact replica, but it wasn't a full exact replica, because the Torah tells us that when something breaks or is destroyed in some way and is repaired, you can never make it exactly the same. There's something there that's going to be different. Maybe it's a memory. Like, you get a scar, you get a cut and you have a scar and it heals, and eventually that scar really, really fades. But at some point, like if you look really closely, you can still see it. It's a reminder. It's supposed to be there. It's supposed to remind you of whatever that was broken, that was shattered in some way. But it also reminds us that nothing can ever be put back exactly the same. The memories are there, the fear is there, or the pain, whatever it is. And so it's to remind us, but it is also to remind us of the fragility. And Fern, you were saying Gaza and barbed wire, and or somebody else said, I want to go back, when it's safe. It's to remind us of the fragility of what it is to live in Israel, which is the size of about New Jersey, surrounded by our enemies. And we are living that now. And making no judgment, making no political statement, we are living through it, and the results politically of what it is taking to get some healing done. No high horse. But at any rate, I just wanted, yes, Fern.
So I'm wondering now, because I was saying I don't remember seeing them. I remember being there and that, but now I'm wondering, I'm curious. I wrote myself a note. I need to find out when they were being repaired. Maybe they were unapproachable because they were being repaired at that point.
So well, that was
they were surrounded by barbed wire.
It could be, but that was 1967.
It's the war.
The war. So maybe it took. I don't know how long it took for him to.
I'll do. I'm a researcher by profession. I mean, that's what I do. So now I want to. Now I want to research that. Thank you.
Wow. When or how long? Okay. Issachar. Okay. All right. So that's Issachar. Now we come to the tribe of Dan. And it says right at the top here, Dan Yadin Amo, Dan will judge his people. The word Dan, a Beit Din, that's a tribe of judges. That's what justice is. And so here you have, again, mixing traditional with literal. So you have a three-pronged Shabbat menorah. Menorah just means candle holder. And I have my grandmother's up in the closet. But many of us, that's the European, the Ashkenazi, that had the three candle holders for Shabbat. But it's shaped like the justice scales, right? Dan, justice. And so his blessing, and you can see this snake here. So his blessing is, Dan shall be a serpent who bites at the horse's heels so the rider falls backwards. A quick explanation. So here we have our horses over here. I don't know if any of you have ever seen, and sometimes even in the movies, but if a horse falls, first of all, a horse's head is like crazy heavy, and the neck does a tremendous amount of work to keep it up. And when a horse is going to lie down for a nap, or even if it's falling, it will kind of throw its head this way and kind of do a shoulder roll down. Because if it just fell over, it would injure itself, especially it would injure its head. And so you can see that these horses have turned their heads. They've been bitten by this snake. So there's peril there, but they are protecting themselves. And so their heads are turned so that they can roll down and safely be on the ground. And so we have also the birds, which represent wisdom, again, justice, wisdom. And there's a lot of birds in here. And then here, In this little tile, in this little area here, you see there's this white. And inside the white, there's this little house, this little hut. This has nothing to do with Jacob or the Torah or anything. This is Chagall. This is a little commercial. This is like, and I know not all of you are from New York, but maybe you remember this from the 70s. There was this commercial to promote New York, and it was "I love New York," and it was, chorus line and the Big Apple and all of this. This is I love Vitebsk. This is a little nod. This is his little hut. This is his little um, house that he grew up in this farmland.
Yeah.
And this is just like, I'm doing this work. All of a sudden, I'm homesick. I'm thinking of my family. I'm thinking of the traditions. I'm thinking of all this work that I do about Judaism. And it's just making me, I want to just embed Vitebsk in one of these windows. And so that's what this is. Just this little nod to his village,
Shtetl.
his little shtetl. Yeah. So yay. So that's our little commercial break. Uh-oh. Here we are at God, not God, G-O-D, but God, G-A-D. And up here, Gimel Daled, this is God up here. These were defenders. These were perpetually at war defending those who were attacking the Israelites. The Ammonites, the Moabites, the Arameans, they were always attacking the Israelites. And the tribe of God was defending them. They were warriors, they were soldiers. And so here you have one shield to protect them, and this shield is fully a full circle. Here you have the second shield, but it is intentionally up at the very top, and it is an open circle. And it is letting in this divine light at the very top. I don't know, my screen just kind of messed up a little bit. So at the very top, that yellow is coming in, those rays of divine light are coming in to help protect and help aid all of these soldiers in the tribe of God. But you can see, again, this dark green, this blackish green. You got these, again, these animals that are kind of like, what kind of an animal is this? It's like an animal, but it's got wings. And again, this long snaky kind of a thing, but it's also a bird. There's just a lot of discord happening here to represent the war and the times and the very hard times that they went through, just perpetually having to defend. And again, there's a lot of bloodshed that is on this. This is the same red that we had back in Shimon. This is that same color red, the blood that is on the shield here to represent all of the war times that they went through. Here, on the other hand, and again, I'm just going to do a little before. This is war. This is sad. This is Asher. This is literally happy. This is Asher, the tribe of Asher. By the way, the God and Asher, they are from Zilpah, who was one of Leah's handmaids. By now, Leah is tired. She has stopped having children, but her handmaids are now having children. And I forgot to mention Issachar. So Issachar was the sixth child of Leah. Dan was from Rachel's handmaid Bilhah. Again, Rachel is like at her wit's end. She's like, if I can't have a child with Jacob, at least lay with my handmaid, and the child will kind of be ours because it's my handmaid. And now we go back to two of Leah's, back to back, her children. This is Asher. So this again, you can see that there is just this beauty. We have a lot of olive branches. There's an olive branch in the bird's mouth, and here's an olive branch. We got an olive orchard over here. These were, and also this dove represents peace. These were peaceful, loving people. They were olive merchants. They had orchards, they were selling olive oil, and they were also supplying olive oil. Down here you have the seven-branch menorah. This is the symbol of, this is another one of the symbols, just like the lion from Judah. This is one of the symbols of Israel, not the 9 that you get for Hanukkah, but the seven-branch menorah. And they weren't lighting candles on it. It was purified oil that was burning. And that purified oil came from Asher, came from the tribe of Asher. Another thing that's representing the prosperity, here you see we have a bird in the middle. He's got a little fish in his belly. And that is symbolic of the prosperity. They will never go hungry. They will always have food. They will always prosper. So you have all of these beautiful symbols here. And that also, by the way, the fish in the belly is also representing fertility, that they should have a big tribe. Okay. Back to one of Rachel's handmaids again. This is Bilhah again. This is her second child. And this is Naphtali. And what we have here is another, this is yellow. This is not gold, but this is yellow. And again, very bright, very positive. And here we have another bird, but which is representing wisdom. Here the bird's mouth is open. You can see the beak is open. And that's because Naphtali was a very eloquent speaker. And in fact, so I can't see you, Rick, you're not on here, but you mentioned something about Jacob's sons and, the truth being revealed about good news. That son that you thought was dead, that beloved son you thought was dead, guess what, Dad? He's alive. So when they were in Egypt and they had to go back and tell Jacob that his son was alive, Naphtali was actually the first to get there. It was said he was fleet of foot. And so he was the first one to get there. He was an eloquent speaker, but at the same time, his father is getting quite old and he doesn't want to jar him with this and scare him with this news. God forbid he should have a heart attack that he's hearing this. And so it is said that he sang the words that of the good news that Joseph is still alive. And in fact, we know where he is and we're going to come and take you so that you can be reunited with him, because that's such crazy news that he sang it to him. And so that's really cool. So now,
Naphtali's my Hebrew name, so I will take that.
oh, very nice. There you go. So you are also an eloquent speaker. You see?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it all comes full circle.
But I'm not very fleet of foot these days. But
okay, well, we won't check you on that.
okay.
So another symbol here is this beautiful big gazelle at the bottom. And again, that is representative of how he was fleet of foot. But this is also very representative of what is going on in Israel as these stained glass windows are being made, because one of the things that is being developed as we are developing the land and the water and business and commerce and all of that, we are developing a postal system. And the symbol for Israel's, and Fern is nodding, the symbol for Israel's postal system is Naphtali, is the gazelle. And so he gets kind of that little nod, that little honor in modern Israel for what his legacy was from biblical times. So that's Naphtali.
The telephone token, you used to use it was a token to use the telephones. It was a circle with a hole in it, and it had the gazelle on it.
Very cool.
I'll have to dig it out. I have one somewhere.
That's great. You know what? I'm gonna go on eBay. I'm gonna try and get.
Take a look. I might have one. No, take a look.
Okay.
I think so.
So what? It was a phone coin for like.
You needed I'm pretty sure, and really, it's like 54 years ago, but I think it was a round coin, and it had a circle in the middle of it, and that's how you use the payphones.
For payphones, very cool.
I could be a caveat. I'm thinking
or it was a token for the subways. Bring it
probably.
to New York, although you can't use those in New York anymore. So good news, folks. Rachel's going to have a baby.
All
This
right.
is Joseph. Yay. She finally has her child, her first child. This is Joseph. This is the second of the two gold windows. And again, gold representing just the absolute highest. And so here you have so many symbols of, we have the crown on this bird, again, the bird representing wisdom, but the crown. We have this, and also this gold is also representative of the color of the wheat, because don't forget, when Joseph becomes this great leader, so down here we have the three fat cows and we have the three skinny cows. And in his dream, when he interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh, that there were going to be these, Pharaoh had this dream. There were seven skinny, emaciated cows, and they ate these fat cows, these seven fat cows, and yet they still remained emaciated and skinny. That was to portend the 7 years of plenty, but then the 7 years of the famine. And so he was able to, and here's one of the storehouses. There's like a little tower here. This is one of the storehouses where they were storing the grains and the food to be able to wait out those 7 years. Up here you have the shofar. This is not just for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, where we blast the shofar to kind of awaken us from our slumber and of our complacency and wake us up and to kind of figure out what kind of a year we're going to have. But it literally was also to just be a symbol of announcement. And the hands, oh, I'm sorry, I keep doing that. I don't know if you can see that blur on the top. So the hands that are holding the shofar, two of the fingers are covered in blood, and that is referential to the Holocaust and announcing that we should never forget the Holocaust. And particularly, he was certainly thinking of the Jews of Europe, but all of the people who were massacred in the Holocaust. And so that's why we have this blood on these hands. Down here, we have a tree, the symbol of a tree. So it starts out in gold. This is the tree, the family tree of Joseph. And so here it starts out in gold with Joseph, and then it becomes red. It becomes not blood red, but more of not a royal red, but this is Manasseh and Ephraim. These are portending, these are his two sons, but this is the kavod, the honor that they are going to get by having those two tribes. So even though they don't have a stained glass window for themselves as the 12 sons, they are here embedded and represented in these in the branches of the two trees of his family tree. So that's what's happening there. And then our second child of Rachel, sadly, so this is Benjamin. Sadly, she dies in childbirth. And this is the last of the 12. He's the youngest of the 12 sons. And here we have all of the brothers surrounding poor, poor, vulnerable Benjamin. He's the youngest. He lost his mother. But we should not be worried for him because he is a warrior. He is fierce. And he is symbolized here. I'm going to start down here, where the blessing is Jacob. You are the wolf who in the morning devours his prey and divides his spoils by night. So when a hunting animal has prey and doesn't finish it all, very often in nature they will separate and divide and hide what is left in different places. So if a scavenger comes, it shouldn't take all of the food that it has killed and that it is trying to save for itself. And so here you have this cute little lion, right? And this is actually as close to symbolic of a little lion cub, right? But what is going on here? There's all this blood all over his paws. This is Benjamin. He has not only killed this animal, but he has actually beheaded it. You can see the head is completely severed from the body. He's a hunter, he's a warrior. And up here, where again the brothers are so protective of him. Here you have his name, Binya over here and Min over here. Binyamin is the Hebrew word for Benjamin. It is literally divided, just as he as a hunter is going to divide his spoils to make sure that they don't all get eaten or taken away. His name is divided in half. So we shouldn't feel sad for him that he is going to be vulnerable, and just because he's the youngest, he's a hunter, he's a wolf. And still over here, Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, Jerusalem of gold. We have, because the tribe of Benjamin settles very close to Jerusalem itself. And I can go back and show you the map afterwards. So that is our 12 tribes, our 12 sons, excuse me. Here's a quick family tree. So here we have, and this one is good, this is color coded. So we got Leah. So here are the 6 sons. Dinah, of course, not counted. She's not in here, but she had 7 of the 13 children. And then Zilpah, Leah's servant, has Gad and Asher. Going to skip over Rachel for a sec. Bilhah has Dan and Naphtali. And then we have Joseph and Benjamin, Joseph with his nice Technicolor dream coat. And so this is the biblical story. If you're looking for a really good midrash, a fictional interpretation of how it may have come to be, then we have The Red Tent,
Yeah.
which is a great book.
Yeah.
Great story. The women are powerful. The men don't fare so well. And it's interesting because it is a love story between Dinah. She is not raped. It is misinterpreted by her brothers, but she is in love with the prince, and the prince is in love with her. There's a whole story. So she does very well. She actually well, I'm not going to tell you the end of it, but she has a really good ending to her story. Those of you who know the story and who know me know why I like it. Okay, so that is everything there. Oops, stop sharing. Sorry about that. I do want to share with you, this is what they look like when they are illuminated at night. Can you imagine walking by? I mean, it was beautiful when we saw it inside also, but this must be really something.
Wow.
And this is actually from Hadassah. Paul was recently going, it's amazing. Paul was recently going through some old family papers, and my grandparents sent this card. This is when someone passes away and you want to make a donation in their name, in their memory. And so it says Hadassah Hebrew University Medical Center. Now it's Hadassah Hospital, it's called. But a donation was made by my grandparents in honor of Paul's grandfather when he passed away. And very sadly, within a month, my grandfather was going to pass away. So we lost both of our grandfathers very close at the same time. But I love the connection to our family and to Hadassah. So
Hey, Jill, I do have a question. Did
yes.
he ever do anything as large and as magnificent for Dina somewhere else?
I don't believe so, but I am going to check. I think Anita did the best job
Oh, no
of
doubt.
honoring Dina.
No doubt, I've read it.
But I will find out.
She's written a lot of stuff too.
Oh yeah. Some fiction and some nonfiction.
Yeah, she's written books that I use like for baby namings and for weddings.
For baby namings, for intermarriage, a lot. Yeah. Dina. Okay. Questions before we go on to a couple of quick videos. You guys okay? Am I okay if I go a little over whatever my time lot was?
You're the one 3 hours ahead. We're good.
Oh, I'm wired. I'm good.
I'm going to be presumptuous and speak for all of us.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. So any questions before we go to video clips or thoughts or anything? No? Okay. All right. So let's see. So this is silent. It's only a minute and a half. This is footage of Chagall first making windows, because he did create so many stained glass pieces that are secular, that are in churches, that are in synagogues. They are everywhere. So this is first, and you'll see he's on a step ladder. This thing is huge. This is in a cathedral. So he's working on that. And then you're going to see some of the artist's sketches that he did for some of these windows. And at the very end, you're going to see him painting on to enhance the color. Unfortunately, it's in black and white because it's very old. But what are you going to do? So let me actually cue it up before I screen share it so that it will go faster. Yeah, okay. So, oops. All right, give me one more sec because this is slow. Here we go. Okay. So you're going to see the outside of the cathedral first, and then you're going to see the inside. Okay. Joop. Come on. Okay, so you can see this?
Yes.
All right. All right. So again, it's silent, but you're going to get to see, and when he's working on our windows that we saw, you'll see he's working with one of his artists. He did all of the artwork, but he's going to be showing them how to work on the stained glass itself, and then he's working on it. Okay, let's go. Look at how big that is. That may or may not be Vava. I'm not sure. It looks like her. So there you go. That's Dan. That's the tribe of Dan.
Oh, and the snake.
Here's the car. There they all are. There's Dan again. Naphtali. Oh, and by the way, wait, scene. Okay. So he only signed one of the 12 windows, and that was Judah, Yehuda. That was the one that he signed. All right, now I have one that has some volume in it. Hold on. Okay, so this, I got this off of YouTube, and this is someone's home movie when they went to Israel, to Ein Kerem. So it's really shaky camera work. I apologize for that, but it is going to show you the spectacle, the grandeur of what it's like to be standing underneath them and just looking up. We kind of got a bigger view when we were with the original slide, but now we're kind of really in the middle of it all. And again, there's no volume on this one. Okay. Benjamin in the corner, and now we're going to put this is where it starts. That's Reuben first, and then long. And then the back. And he just keeps going around and around. You get dizzy after a while. But you can see, like, there's the hands. It's magnificent. Okay. So now we're going to the Art Institute of Chicago, and we're going to see some windows that he created. These are secular, but still you're going to see, and there's a narration over it, you're going to see his heritage. He still has nods to his Jewish heritage as well as to America, and his feelings towards his new home, or his new home at the time. He really, he was only in America for a few years, but it's where he was able to survive. He was able to escape to, and then mostly in Paris. Oops, nope, just kidding. Hold on. First. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Okay.
We're standing in front of Marc Chagall's America Windows, one of the most important stained glass compositions that Chagall made.
Stephanie D'Alessandro, Gary C. and Francis Comer, curator of International Modern Art.
When I walk into these rooms, I often feel like I'm in a pool with my eyes open in the middle of the summertime, just covered with this beautiful blue light. I think stained glass windows, though something that he turned to late in his career, they are perhaps the best carrier of Chagall's great sensibility with color.
Chagall made the windows as a gift for the Art Institute in honor of America's bicentennial in 1976, and the motifs on each window relate to the arts in this country. From left to right, he celebrates music, painting, literature, theater, dance, and even America itself. The third window from the right features the Statue of Liberty, an eagle, and even a bit of the Chicago skyline. Chagall, a Russian who lived primarily in France, admired America. He took refuge here in the 1940s after fleeing the Nazis and lived in the United States until 1947. About his time here, the artist said,
"I lived here in America during the inhuman war in which humanity deserted itself. I have seen the rhythm of life. I have seen America fighting with allies, the wealth that she has distributed to bring relief to the people who had to suffer the consequences of the war. I like America and the Americans. Above all, I am impressed by the greatness of the country and the freedom that it gives."
Chagall had a long history of relationships here in our city, dating back at least to 1946. And every time he came to the city, he was impressed with the people here who knew his work and who admired his work. It was basically out of his love and admiration for the city and for its support of the arts, and also for the United States that gave him harbor during World War II, that he made these beautiful windows.
Okay. So that was Chicago. Now we're going to come to New York, and we're going to come to the UN. And we are also going to come to his granddaughter, who continues his legacy of remembering and honoring his work. It refers to her as Ida, but I think that Ida was her mother. I think that it was that he was married to Bella, and they had a daughter, Ida, and then Ida had a daughter, Bella, to name after the grandmother who had passed away, to honor her. that's the only thing that's a little wonky in that. But this is really cool, and she's fabulous. Hold on, let me get this. Okay. And again, it's a brief video. It's all of about, I think it's like three minutes long. No, this is the real short one. This is the one that is a minute and a half. So these are, oops. The sound is okay on these, Rick?
Yeah, so far good. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
My grandfather used stained glass windows very much as a tool to celebrate light. It's only through light that you can find peace. When I look at this particular extraordinary stained glass window, I feel like crying. I feel like crying because I know he believed so much in humanity to come to a harmony so that there would be peace in the world. What he really wanted is maybe not for the viewers to try to decipher every motive in the imagery which he's bringing to us and offering to us, but to feel it, because for him that was always the most important. To look at something and to take it in with your heart. I'm deeply thankful to my grandfather that he created this beautiful, beautiful light. And I'm grateful to the UN for continuing to exist.
And I just got it. That picture is her mother.
Yeah.
As a child. Let me go back. Let me play this. There you go. I don't know which one it is, but that's what it is that it's her mother as a child. There we go. There you go. Okay. So those, I do have one more. Can I show
Barry,
it?
let me interrupt for a second. Barry has a question.
Yeah. Oh, Barry, yes.
You're muted, Barry.
Oh, your hand is up. It must be tired. Just
Okay.
kidding. Okay. Anybody else have a question?
Let me show you something.
Okay.
Let me change the view. No, I don't know.
While you're looking, oh,
Can
Oh, you
can
found
you
him.
guys see that?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that is so
Do I have it
cool.
held the right way? Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's it. Yeah,
can you see
yeah.
the gazelle? Fern just took a picture and sent these to me. And you
That
can
is
see the
so
gazelle and
great.
everything.
That is so great. Wow.
With the all around the numbers all around the dial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doar.
yeah.
Doar
And
is the
Gazelle
post
just
office.
like just leaping.
Fern's got a lot of great stuff. She's got the spice box that I always use for Havdalah. And I never had a dreidel from Israel before, and somehow it came up in conversation. And next time I saw Fern, here. So anyhow,
Do
Very
we have any information on his family? Were they
What way? What do you mean?
the siblings and the parents, did they survive the Holocaust? Were they?
So he and Bella, Marc Chagall and Bella were in 1942, I think they came to the United States, or 44, something, 42, 43, something like that. And they came to the United States. They just had Ida, they just had their daughter with them, and so they all escaped. You mean like his parents?
Right, parents
Yeah.
and siblings.
And all of those other siblings. I don't have any other information. I will look it up on this.
I'm just curious, but
Yeah. I didn't come across it in either positive or negative news as I was doing research, so but I'll find out. I mean, they were certainly in deep peril if they
Yeah.
stayed there, because Belarus was just, yeah. But good question, Sandy. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the last video that I want to share is for us in New York on the other coast. This is in Westchester. This is a very small church. This is actually, we're going to hear that it was funded by the Rockefeller family. This was the church that they prayed in. And it is still, it's a historic place now. It is curated. You can go to Paul and I went with our friends. The really cool thing about this that you'll see that I want to say ahead of time is instead of these stained glass windows being so far away and kind of up there, they're like right here. Like when you're sitting in the pew, you can just reach over and touch it. They ask you not to, but you could just like it's literally like right there. You're sitting like, and then there are some pieces that are on either end that are just kind of up higher. So we're going to see that. So that's just a fun trip to take if you're coming to the and Rick, maybe when you're coming in town, maybe you'll take a side trip up to Westchester. So let me grab this one here.
The history of the Union Church window.
Come on, here we go. All right. Okay, so here's our last one. This is the one, this is like 4 minutes long. There we go.
The history of the Union Church windows is the story of relationships among distinguished patrons and collectors of art and great artists. Credit for the windows is due largely to David and Nelson Rockefeller, both sons of Abby Aldrich, a founder of the Museum of Modern Art, and John D. Rockefeller Jr., one of the country's great philanthropists and founder of Historic Hudson Valley, the nonprofit organization which now owns and cares for the church. When Abby died in 1948, Nelson suggested that the family ask Henri Matisse, whom his mother strongly admired as one of the world's greatest contemporary painters, to create a memorial for her. Matisse was the perfect choice, for not only had he known Abby, but his style was well suited to the demanding medium of stained glass. The Rockefellers sent word to the legendary French artist, inviting him to design a memorial window to their mother. But Matisse had grown old, and his health was failing. His doctors would not allow him to accept the commission and make the transatlantic journey. But the family persisted, allowing him to design the window from his home in France. Matisse accepted. This rose window would be his final creation. In the last months of his life, struggling against ill health and confined to his home, the brilliant artist devoted all of his creative and artistic energies to designing Mrs. Rockefeller's window. When Matisse died in November 1954, the design for the rose window graced his bedroom wall. 2 years later, on Mother's Day, 1956, the family dedicated the rose window. Thus the story of one of the world's most generous and influential families and one of the world's greatest artists came together here in this modest stone church. John D. Rockefeller Jr., Abby's husband, and one of the most generous philanthropists of his age, died in 1960.
After Father's death, we of course faced the same question, what would be an appropriate memorial? But I think that what really tipped off the choice of Chagall was the fact, back in, I think, 1963, Peggy and I had been on a trip to Paris. She went to the Louvre and saw a special exhibition of stained glass windows which were going to Jerusalem, which had been done by Chagall, and she thought they were very beautiful. So she came back from that and said to me, I really think the answer is here for a person to do the window for your father. Chagall was a delightful, amusing combination of qualities. Of course, he was Jewish and was born in Russia, but he'd also spent a lot of time in France. He spoke mostly French, very little English, but he had a good sense of humor, and I think without too much difficulty we persuaded him to do it.
The Rockefeller family ultimately commissioned Chagall to create a total of 9 windows, transforming a simple country church into one of the most beautiful and most unexpected sanctuaries of stained glass in the world. Unlike the setting in many churches, visitors here encounter the windows at an intimate, pew-side level.
Okay, that was my last video.
Wow.
And that's our Chagall.
Wow.
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 I don't know if you're tired of hearing this yet, but this is the third thing we've done together. And I will repeat what I've said twice before, and that is every time we get together, I have expectations that are so far out there, and you exceed them every time.
Thank you so much. That's, wow, thank you.
Really. Anybody have any questions or comments before?
Yeah, anybody, any questions, any more homework for me? I got some good questions here.
Spice container for Havdalah.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah,
That's very interesting.
This is great.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I was the assistant to a rabbi, Temple Judea in the San Fernando Valley, and they were moving to a different building and they were just getting rid of it. So I took it.
Good for you.
Moskowitz, right?
Yeah, I love seeing it at Havdalah. Very nice.
Very cool.
I truly appreciated your work. And as Rick mentioned when we first were introduced, when I came on, I've written several books on Grant Wood, and my most recent one is on a memorial stained glass window that he did.
Oh, nice.
And people don't know about it. Even the people who live here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, don't know about it because partly it was made he started it in 1927. Cedar Rapids wanted to honor the veterans of our state, and he did immediate research, but he had and this is before he painted American Gothic, and he had no idea how to make a stained glass window, but he got the commission and wanted to learn from the best, and they happened to be in Munich. And so the Daughters of American Revolution got very upset, and the window was installed in 1929, but not dedicated until 1955, 13 years after he died. Wow. Because he had gone to Germany. Wow. And it's a very interesting story, and I've seen the original drawings that he did, and just to mention the size, this is 20 feet high. So it's huge. And at the time, it was the largest stained glass window in the world. I don't know if that still is the case. It's absolutely gorgeous. And he said that learning how to, and he did it all by painting on the glass. I was interested in what you said. And he said that was the hardest thing he ever did, was learning how to paint that glass. So,
wow.
The artwork
so
is,
yeah,
it's so intricate.
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Someone
Well,
once said, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I would say someone said, no, stained glass is easy. All you need is sharp tools and lots of Band-Aids.
Right. he was learning from experts who were used to doing for churches, and he complained that he wanted the people to look like they were from Iowa, but they all look like saints. And he said that he did one veteran for each of those 6 wars we had been in up to that point. And he said the one from the Civil War looked like Jesus Christ himself. So he decided he had to do the painting, not these experts. They showed him how to do it, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Wow,
I
well,
learned a
thank
lot.
you, and thank you for sharing that. You gave me
Yeah.
something else to look up now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jill. That was really interesting.
Well, thank you.
It was spectacular and very moving.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
This was great. Thank you so much for your time and doing all of that.
And thank you, Rick, for inviting people, foreigners like Iowans, to join you.
Barbara and I are on among others, are on a Trivial Pursuit game every Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which is,
my
we have a
goodness. Oh,
great
that's right,
time.
because you said Tuesday was not a good night for me to present.
That's
Wow.
right. We talked about that, Barbara. We couldn't do it Tuesday because I was
Right.
otherwise occupied. And
That's
most
funny.
of the time, we actually even play Trivial Pursuit. I would say
Yeah.
probably 90% of the time, but we have a great time. So.
Oh.
May I ask about one more book that I may have mentioned it the last time? It's The Hair with Amber Eyes by Edmund Duvall. I have it written in the other room. The Hair with Amber Eyes. It's about a guy who in his family were 264 of the Netsuke, the Japanese carved objects that you put when you put your kimono on. They were in his family, and he started researching them and found out that he was Jewish, and this whole huge, amazing Jewish. It is the most wonderful book. It's called The Hair with Amber Eyes. Let me go get my note.
I got it right here. Thank you. Wow.
He is a ceramicist named Edwin Dewall, Wall. I love this book so much that I bought copies for my children and everyone to read. I thought it was so important because he goes back and he finds that several generations before, they were in Odessa. They were business people in Odessa where the kids spoke 7 languages, and someone goes to Paris, and it's how the Jews were treated in these various places, and just the whole branch that, we're not really Jewish. It is, I highly recommend this book. It's my favorite nonfiction book.
You know what? I'll take a picture of the cover and I'll send it out to everybody.
Yeah. There's 2 different versions of it. One has a lot more pictures. I'll send you the good cover if I have a copy of the good one.
Okay.
But as far as Jewish history and tracing family lines, it's fascinating. I like research, so it's fascinating.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Your presentations are just fabulous. So
you guys are a great audience when you keep saying stuff like that. Thank you.
That's something for you to look forward to. Jill's going to come back, if not before, but definitely she'll be back around Kristallnacht.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Fern,
guys.
what was the other book that you mentioned earlier? I didn't write it down.
Oh, hold on, let me get, I have it.
The weight
The red
of
tent.
Oh no, well
One was the red tent. That was
me.
The weight
That
of
was
ink.
yours.
Oh,
The weight
the
of
weight of
ink.
ink.
by
The weight
Rachel
of
White.
ink. Thank
And
you.
it's very thick, but it's I'm watching a presentation and the author is saying it's history, but if I'm going to do real history, I could get sued or this or that. So I make up characters, but they're doing what's happening around them is real. The time is real, but she's made up these characters, and it was a good book. I liked it.
I'll send out a follow-up that shows all that.
It has to do with Shakespeare as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it did, but kind of, yeah. Just that the time period, and only terrible women would even go to the theater.
Right.
And yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I look forward to the next opportunity.
Thank you,
so
Jill.
much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Well, good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Thanks for coming.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night,
you. Very
everybody.
worthwhile time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Rick.
Right.
See,
Good night,
see you
Jay.
Tuesday,
Ride
Rick.
safely.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. I'm leaving. Bye.